Imagine this. It is 6:17 in the evening. You live on the 18th floor. The lights go out, the elevator stops, your phone drops to 1 bar, and somewhere in the hallway, you hear doors beginning to open. At first, nobody panics. Someone says it is probably a transformer. Someone else says the power will be back in 10 minutes. But 10 minutes becomes 30, then an hour. The hallway emergency lights are getting dimmer. The water pressure feels weaker, and your apartment is beginning to change temperature. This is where a normal blackout can quietly become a high-rise emergency. Because the most dangerous part may not be day 2 or day 3. It may be the first 6 hours when you still have options, but people waste them. They drain their phones, keep opening the refrigerator, wait too long to collect water, experiment with dangerous ways to cook indoors, and assume the elevator will eventually solve their problem. So think of this video as a 6-hour countdown. We are going from the first 60 seconds to the moment when you may have to decide whether staying inside your apartment is still the safest option. And the clock starts now. Your first 10 minutes have one purpose. Stop wasting resources and find out what is actually happening. Do not immediately start lighting candles. Do not start opening the refrigerator. Do not run down 15 flights of stairs just to ask somebody what happened. And do not assume the outage is limited to your apartment. If it is safe, look outside. Are the neighboring buildings dark? Are street lights still working? Check whether your building has sent an alert and look for official information from your utility or local emergency services. If you know how to safely check your electrical panel, make sure this is not simply a breaker issue inside your unit. But if you see water near electrical equipment, smell burning insulation, see smoke, or notice damaged wiring, do not investigate it yourself. Now protect your phone. Turn on low power mode. Lower your screen brightness. Stop streaming. Shut off anything running in the background that you do not need. Your phone has just changed jobs. It is no longer entertainment. It is now your communications device, information source, map, emergency contact list, flashlight backup, and possibly your only connection to what is happening outside the building. If cell service becomes unstable, text messages may be easier to get through than long calls. And if you have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio, this is exactly why it belongs in an apartment blackout kit. 10 minutes have passed. If this turns into a 6-hour emergency, you still have most of your decision window ahead of you. Your next priority is water, because this is where high-rise residents can get caught off guard. People hear power outage and think electricity. They do not immediately think about the faucet. But tall buildings may depend on electric pumps and other systems to maintain water service on upper floors. Your water may continue normally, pressure may slowly drop, or it may disappear faster than you expected. Do not wait to find out which one happens to you. While the tap is still working normally, fill the clean containers you already have. Bottles, pitchers, cooking pots, and food-safe emergency water containers can give you a buffer before the building develops a water problem. If you have a bathtub water storage liner specifically designed for emergencies, this is when you use it. Do not start filling containers that previously held cleaners, fuel, chemicals, or anything you would not want touching drinking water. And think beyond drinking. You may need water for medications, pets, brushing your teeth, basic cleaning, food preparation, and sanitation. In a high-rise outage, the toilet can become a serious problem long before hunger does. That is your first major win. You have protected communications, gathered information, and secured water while the building systems are still working in your favor. Now that you have actually done something useful, tell me in the comments what floor you live on and the longest blackout you have ever experienced there. And if practical apartment preparedness like this is useful to you, subscribe so you are not trying to learn these systems for the first time in the dark. Now the countdown gets more serious. Hour 1. You have roughly 5 hours left before we reach the decision point at the end of this video, and your apartment needs to stop functioning like a normal home. Pick one area as your control zone. Choose a room or section of the apartment that gives you the best combination of temperature control, safe lighting, access to supplies, and proximity to your exit route. Bring your flashlights, emergency lanterns, power banks, medications, water, identification, keys, shoes, first aid supplies, and go bag into that area. The reason is simple. At hour 1, walking into a dark bedroom to find a flashlight is annoying. At hour 5, when batteries are lower, people are tired, the hallway is dark, and you suddenly need to leave, it becomes a completely different problem. Put sturdy shoes on or keep them within arm's reach. A dark apartment or stairwell can hide broken glass, dropped objects, water, and other hazards that were harmless when the lights were on. Then establish your lighting rule. House LED lanterns and battery-powered lights before relying on open flames. You want light sources you can place around your control zone without constantly carrying your phone flashlight from room to room. And do not burn through every light at once. One lantern can illuminate the room you are actually using. The rest stay off as backups. Preparedness is not about having the brightest apartment during hour 1. It is about still having light during hour 12. Now the clock reaches hour 2. You have approximately 4 hours left before the situation needs to be reassessed much more seriously. And this is where one of the most dangerous blackout impulses shows up. People want to recreate normal life. They want hot coffee. They want to cook dinner. They want the room warmer. So they start improvising. Do not bring a charcoal grill, gasoline generator, or outdoor cooking device into your apartment, hallway, enclosed balcony, stairwell, or garage just because the electricity is off. Carbon monoxide does not announce itself with smoke you can see or an odor that warns you to leave. A device that seems like an easy workaround can create a much more serious emergency than the blackout itself. And during the first few hours, you may not need to cook anything anyway. Keep the refrigerator and freezer closed as much as possible. Every time you open them simply to check, you let cold air escape. Instead, use food that requires no cooking first. Crackers, shelf-stable foods, nut butter, canned items that can safely be eaten without heating, dried fruit, protein bars, and other ready-to-eat foods exist for exactly this kind of situation. The goal during the first 6 hours is not comfort. It is preserving options. Hot coffee can wait. Battery power can wait. The food inside the refrigerator can stay closed. Every resource you avoid wasting now gives you more choices later. Hour 3 is when you need to start watching the building, not just your apartment. Open your door only when necessary and pay attention to what is changing. Are the emergency hallway lights still functioning? Is building management communicating? Are residents beginning to gather near the stairwell? Is there unusual noise from mechanical systems? More importantly, is there smoke, an electrical smell, leaking water, alarms, or anything suggesting this is no longer a simple outage? Know exactly where your nearest stairwell is. Know whether your building has a second exit route. And do not depend on the elevator simply because it powers back on for a few minutes. An unstable electrical system can fail again. This is the vertical trap of high-rise living. In a house, leaving might mean walking 20 feet to a car. On the 25th floor, evacuation might mean carrying everything you need down hundreds of steps. That changes what belongs in your go bag. You need water, essential medications, identification, phone power, a flashlight, basic first aid, appropriate clothing, a small amount of ready-to-eat food, and whatever your household specifically cannot function without. You do not need 20 pounds of survival gadgets you have never used. If you have young children, pets, older family members, or someone with limited mobility, this is when your plan needs to account for them. Do not wait until someone announces an evacuation to discover that your emergency kit is too heavy and your family member cannot manage the stairs. Now we reach hour 4. 2 hours remain before our 6-hour decision point, and temperature moves up the priority list. If it is cold outside, reduce the amount of space you are trying to keep comfortable. Close doors to rooms you are not using. Add clothing layers early instead of waiting until you are already cold. Keep blankets, hats, warm socks, and insulating layers together in your control area. If it is extremely hot, think in the opposite direction. Reduce heat coming through sun-facing windows. Close blinds or curtains where appropriate. Move to the coolest, safe section of the apartment. Drink water regularly, rather than waiting until you feel severely thirsty. If outdoor conditions are cooler and opening windows can be done safely, ventilation may help. But security and fall hazards still matter, especially with children or pets. Upper floor apartments can become especially uncomfortable when air conditioning stops, and the decision to leave should not be delayed until someone is already showing signs of heat illness. This is also a natural point to check your equipment. If you want a compact list of the lighting, backup power, water, food, and emergency gear that makes sense for apartment living, I have put the options I trust in the description and pinned comment. Use it as a starting point, not a shopping list you need to buy all at once. Now back to the countdown. Hour 5. This is where you stop asking, when is the power coming back? And start asking a better question. What systems can I still safely depend on? You still have 1 hour before our 6-hour checkpoint. Check your water. Check the temperature. Check your phone battery. Check the stairwell. Check your household. Imagine it is 4:30 in the afternoon. The outage started hours ago. Your faucet has stopped running. You are down to 3 bottles of drinking water. The indoor temperature keeps climbing, and your phone battery is at 22%. No single one of those things automatically means you must leave. But together, they tell a story. That is why your decision cannot depend on one dramatic warning. High-rise emergencies often develop through small failures stacking on top of one another. Maybe you still have safe water, but the apartment is becoming too hot. Maybe the temperature is fine, but someone in your household depends on electrically powered medical equipment. Maybe you have plenty of supplies, but smoke has entered the hallway. Maybe everything inside your unit feels normal, but authorities have instructed residents to evacuate. You need thresholds, and you need them before you are stressed. That brings us to hour 6. This is the most important decision in the entire video. Stay or prepare to leave. Do not leave simply because being without power is uncomfortable. But do not stay just because leaving 20 floors by stairs is inconvenient. Ask whether your apartment is still giving you the basic conditions you need to remain there safely. Is there enough usable water? Can you keep the indoor temperature within a tolerable range? Is the building itself safe? Are your exit routes usable? Can you maintain communications? Does anyone in your household need electricity for essential medical needs? And do you have credible information about whether this situation is improving or deteriorating? Prepared people do not wait for all of those systems to fail simultaneously. They decide in advance what would trigger action. Maybe your trigger is losing both water and reliable communication. Maybe it is an indoor temperature your family can no longer safely tolerate. Maybe it is an evacuation order. Maybe it is the inability to power essential medical equipment. The exact trigger depends on your household, but the mistake is having no trigger at all. Because when people have no predefined threshold, they wait. They wait for the elevator. They wait for the faucet. They wait for the building manager. They wait for their phone to reach 5%. They wait until the apartment is already too hot or too cold. Then, when they finally decide to move, almost every option is worse than it was 3 hours earlier. So tonight, before anything happens, answer 4 questions. If the power disappeared right now, where is your light? How much usable water do you actually have? How would you get yourself and everyone in your household down the stairs? And what exact condition would make you decide it is time to leave? If you cannot answer those questions quickly, You have just identified the most important gaps in your blackout plan. And if you want help building the basic apartment kit around those gaps, the resources I use are linked below. Apartment prepping is not about filling every closet with equipment. It is about protecting your choices. During the first hour, you may still have water pressure. During the second, your phone is still charged. During the fourth, the apartment temperature may still be manageable. During the sixth, the stairwell may still be calm, and you may still be capable of making a decision before circumstances make it for you. That is why the first 6 hours matter so much. A high-rise does not become dangerous the instant the lights go out. It becomes dangerous when one system after another disappears, and you realize you never decided what you would do when the next one failed.